two relatively short passages of Scripture. Firstly, Luke chapter 17, reading from verse 11. Now, on his way to Jerusalem, Jesus travelled along the border between Samaria and Galilee. As he was going into a village, 10 men who had leprosy met him. They stood at a distance and called out in a loud voice, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." When he saw them, he said, "Go, show yourselves to the priests." And as they went, they were cleansed. One of them, when he saw he was healed, came back, praising God in a loud voice. He threw himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him. And he was a Samaritan. Jesus asked, "Were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Has no one returned to give praise to God except this foreigner?" Then he said to him, "Rise and go. Your faith has made you well." And secondly, from the Gospel of Matthew, reading from chapter 8, verse 1. When Jesus came down from the mountainside, large crowds followed him. A man with leprosy came and knelt before him and said, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." Jesus reached out his hand and touched the man. "I am willing," he said, "be clean." Immediately he was cleansed of his leprosy. Clearly, the men from both passages are suffering from leprosy. The Greek word translated as leprosy actually refers to a whole range of skin diseases, but we can safely assume here that the illness was severe and that it rendered them unclean and untouchable. In both accounts, the men know who Jesus is, whether in terms of their illness or thinking more symbolically of their spiritual state. They know who to approach for help, and they are aware of the need to ask. Lepers were, to all intents and purposes, invisible, and yet Jesus saw them. Once asked, Jesus does not hesitate. He is there for them. "I am willing," is his reply to the man. In the previous chapter of Matthew's Gospel, we read, "Knock, and the door will be opened to you." Just as Jesus recognised their need, he surely also knows of ours. The 11 men saw him and took action. They were healed once they had obeyed the man of God. He was irresistible to them, as he should be to us. The passage from Luke is remarkable in that it is a Samaritan who is brought to the centre of the stage. This is no coincidence, and it is so significant. Jews traditionally would have nothing to do with the people from Samaria. Jesus heals him without hesitation, showing us all how to deal with issues of prejudice. The passage goes further. The foreigner is the only one who returns to offer his praise. Perhaps the 9 can be excused. After all, they had been ostracised and surely needed to see their family. It is, however, the Samaritan who is told to "Rise and go. Your faith has made you well." It is possible to translate this as "Your faith has saved you." The model for faith turns out to be the ultimate outsider. Do I stop to give my thanks? I end with what is for me a beautiful thought. Matthew chapter 8, verse 3. Jesus reached out his hand and touched the man. He touched the untouchable, and he is reaching out his hand to us. A prayer. Almighty Father, the giver of life and health, look mercifully on all who suffer. Help us to grasp your outstretched hand. Having grasped it, may we serve you by reaching out to others. Amen. A hymn. To listen to Jesus, lover of my soul, please click on the link in the description. Thank you.